And again, what we said earlier makes some sense. A dog wags its tail, a serpent lays its egg, and that's how it goes on. But we are able to decide what we want to do and whether we want to do it. So, in as much as an individual has the power to change, and nobody can change you or me, we decide individually, there is also a possibility of a community change. And this is what makes it rather interesting, that we have so many people from different areas all in the one room, because a community can change as well. Why do we say that? Is there a historical relevance to this? Yes. Japan. For 250 years, Japan was in the doldrums. It was isolated, it had no contact with the rest of the world. It was full of turmoil and skirmishes in the shogunates, the different areas of Japan. They were killing each other and just carrying on like bumpkins, which they were. Come the Meiji Transformation, somewhere in the 1870s until 1912, was the period known as the Meiji Reformation. Don't believe a word I'm saying, refer it up yourselves. The Meiji Reformation transformed Japan from being a backwater to the modern nation it is. If you consider that, you will appreciate how and why, after the devastation of World War II, at the end of 1945, Japan was a bowl of dust. Where is it now? How was that possible? Because of what had happened earlier in the Meiji Transformation. Nothing really was possible unless they had had that foundation of modernity and thinking during the Meiji Reformation of 1870s into 1912. Do your research into that. You'll be amazed how, as a community of people under that one emperor who was a reader of books, he was not a political animal, he was a reader of books, and he communicated to everyone in Japan what the national ethos should be. Maybe he was a powerful figure, but he was a reader of books. He was a reader of books, not very happy to say, my grandfather was an emperor. No, he was a reader of books. And he communicated to the entire community of Japan that they needed to modernize, and that's exactly what they did. So the Meiji Transformation helped. The power of change was effected. And the modernity of Japan is a historical fact. Those of you who are from Toyota Lanka, ask your own people. They will tell you how it was that Toyota was able to get where they were and are because of this. Mr. Dhammika Kalapuge is no magician, but he is a trainer. He is a chartered marketer, and he has been able to contribute vitally toward the interests of training people in around 450 different organizations, corporate entities, banks, even agencies of government have been able to benefit from the training he has provided. Over, we think, on a conservative figure, 25,000 hours of training. This is his 2,400th training program. But of course, there's a difference. This one is a mixed bag, as I have already indicated, a mixed community. But most of the training, or much of the training that he does, would be for one corporate entity at a time. Some agency or company or organization will invite him, and he will do the training in there. But this occasionally is also included in his program of activity, where he has what we might call a public group. So many different people brought in. So we have mentioned the numbers of hours that he has put in, and we think that he's an expert. That's what we are confident that he is. And what does he do? He helps you to think of the adjustments that you might want to do within yourself and also in the community. Interestingly, if you were to check in the YouTube, there is one of the management gurus, very famous man, Ron Kaufman. Ron Kaufman is internationally recognized, and it's interesting in that YouTube interview that Ron Kaufman does with Mr. Dhammika Kalapuge. Kaufman interviews Dhammika Kalapuge, which is not usual, but that's what has happened, and that, I believe, was done a few years ago in Singapore. And it's interesting to hear that clip, because in that clip, Mr. Kaufman refers to Mr. Dhammika Kalapuge, a trainer in Lanka, as the Ron Kaufman of Sri Lanka. That's an interesting thing, because somebody else is recognizing the fact that he's able to provide the right kind of training in the context of our own land. So the power to change has been around a while, and we think that you are today able to benefit from that. We would like you to have your minds unhinged from whatever other things and concerns that you have had or may have had before you arrive here, and be completely open to what we might be able to gather and benefit from here today. That's all I need to say. Please enjoy the program, Mr. Dhammika Kalapuge.